here with Angus Menuge, and we're talking about science, we're talking about miracles, and one of the things that often gets brought up, and maybe some of our viewers who are students who are working in various departments at various places across the world, one of the things they're hearing from their professors or people who are influential is saying, if you're a serious scholar, if you're serious about your discipline, you can't even consider the supernatural. I mean, so what advice would you give, or what would you say in response to that to the young person who's struggling with that, from someone who's, of course, likely brilliant and influential in their life?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things is just to distinguish context. If you're doing lab science where all you're doing is mapping, say, one set of chemicals to another in a chemical reaction, it's not surprising you're probably not considering the supernatural. But when you look at history, and now you consider some pretty amazing events, one-time events, like the appearance of the universe, where does it come from? Surely nature cannot explain its own existence. Or if there's a miracle, and we have lots and lots of evidence for it, as we do for the resurrection. Yeah. Well, now, if you use this same rule and say we won't consider the supernatural, that may lead you away from the truth. And I've often said this would be like the pirate who is given a map, and he's told the treasure's somewhere on this island, and he says, okay, well, I'll search these places, but I won't search here because it says, here there be dragons. Well, does that mean the treasure isn't there? No, it could be there, even if somebody doesn't want to go there. And so it may be that there are historians who don't want to consider the supernatural, but we need to be clear that does not mean that isn't the best explanation. You should be open to the idea of all the causes of a particular effect, and you should be able to argue that the supernatural is the best explanation.
Yeah. So you're the president of the Evangelical Philosophical Society, of course. I have an idea what the evangelical philosophers say about this.
Yeah.
But what's going on in the wider world of philosophers and thinkers? Is there a shift? Is there a shift going on, or is it still pretty much, no, we don't even consider the miraculous, it's off the table? Or kind of what's the climate right now?
I would say that right now there are more people who are open to the case for miracles than there have been for a long time. There have been some wonderful works, not just by evangelical scholars like Robert Lama's book, The Legitimacy of Miracle, but there was also John Eammon's book, Hume's Abject Failure, which showed that Hume's arguments against miracles are just bad arguments. And over time, I think that there's openness to miracles in principle and also in fact. You've got people like Craig Keener who have just amassed vast amounts of data and evidence. And finally, the person who says they couldn't happen, well, does that mean you're just not going to open this book and consider the evidence? So I think there is a move in a positive direction here.
Yeah. So if you're watching this, and obviously not this wouldn't be the case at Liberty, but if you're watching this from another university and you're struggling with this, and one thing to realize is that you might only be being exposed to one kind of philosophy or one type of thinking, and there's as has been mentioned, there seems to be more openness, even amongst non-believers or people who are agnostic about the possibility. So do some further reading, do some further thinking, and continue on in